Hi, hi, hello, hello. We are reading a new chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. This one is 246, titled Message. A very generic, nondescript title, could be referring to just about anything. Maybe the message that Hawks encryptedly gave Endeavor in the last few chapters that Endeavor has been puzzling over. We start with this really awesome, very colorful spread. I really like this aesthetic of kind of early 90s tech core, looking like the protagonist of some Nickelodeon show, perhaps. Yeah, this is cool. This sets a very cool vibe for this whole chapter. The character choices are kind of interesting. We've got Kami of the Big Three, who's not really like a major character, but it's Midoriya and a bunch of girls, so I guess they wanted more girls. It's cool to see her again. All right. We start with seeing some more from the villain side. Quirk really blossomed in that last battle. Now it's not only the object you touch, but the things that are connected to that object that get destroyed as well. Come to embody absolute destruction. So yes, we saw that pretty clear when he was in demolishing buildings. He was able to go through waves of people just touching the outer layer of them. So it looks like all that needs to happen is a physical connection. But the way that they emphasize this word connected makes me think that maybe even like going along power cords is possible, or other forms of not like as direct connection, but the power can propagate all the way. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like right at the part where we were starting to understand Tomura as a character, kind of understand the depths of his past and what his ambitions are, and kind of understand the limits of his power. Like for a while there, he was really losing against Redestro. Now we've kind of taken a step back just for a little bit, and we're not really sure exactly what he's capable of now, or exactly how that fight and that liberation and that flashback he had changed his worldview, changed how he was planning about going, how he was planning on going about doing things. So it'll be interesting to see what this absolute destruction really entails. He's like a stranger to us again. Have to ask, why do you seek even more power? So he's hanging out with the doc. When someone offers me something, I take it. It's true, I have no more need for delicate moves, but I doubt this boost has made me unbeatable. Just ask CEO Baldy, he's alive and kicking. So he really did want to kill Redestro? Is that what he's implying here? That the very fact that Redestro lived through their fight means that he's not as strong as he'd like to be? Look at this arm. I went out all at one time and this is what happened. How many of them are we going to have to face, huh? I'm done taking the heroes lightly. I'll use everything I've got to obliterate the dregs all night left behind. The next time we meet, I'll finish them off. So this is about as bold a declaration as the League of Villains has made before. And before, they were kind of playing it delicately. It was a lot of like sneak attacks, targeting students, more kind of generating this sense of terror rather than outright war. Usually the big major fights have been instigated by the heroes because the heroes know that they have the power advantage. But now, this is quite significant. Shigaraki here is saying, like, no, I want to take the fight to them. Like, next opportunity I get, we're going all out. I'm going to finish them off. Now that All Might's gone, he's feeling pretty confident. And this, of course, squarely puts the focus of the arc back on Endeavor and Hawks, the two strongest heroes. So all this is to make your enemies miserable. Like master, like student, I suppose. Wow, I don't know what he's spewing out here. I don't know if this is like exhaling or... oh, whatever. My research here was originally intended for all for one. With each passing generation, quirks become more mixed, more complex, more ambiguous, more powerful, and more numerous. Though our memory expands faster and faster, our hardware doesn't evolve quickly enough to keep up. There will eventually come a point when people lose control. I call this concept the quirk singularity. Well, now you've used a word that quite interests me. So there's all sorts of different types of singularity or uses of the word that all kind of go back to the same very general, very mathematical concept. Where if you have, you can kind of picture like a graph that behaves sort of as expected. It stays within finite bounds. It doesn't do anything too crazy. And then at some point it hits like a vertical asymptote and suddenly there's like a hole in the graph. The line just shoots up, um, continually approaching straight vertical, right? And then perhaps appears on the other side, like in the graph of tan tan x looks like that. So you can call these points singularities. Because at that point, the point at which it actually veers off up into infinity, a lot of things like break down. There's like continuous, predictable, stable behavior, and then the singularity where none of that stuff makes sense anymore. So another usage of it that's quite common is for black holes. That inside of the black hole is a gravitational singularity, a point at which gravity is so strong, you know, that light can't come out, information of any type can't come out, any sort of radiation can't come out of the black hole. I mean, there's Hawking radiation, but that's the breakdown of the black hole. That's different. And at that point, you have, again, something where the normal sort of formula for figuring out gravity just stops working because it's like gravity deals with wells, space-time having these dips and dents and stuff, and then a black hole, instead of a dip or dent, just has a hole. It has a singularity. So singularities then became kind of like a commonplace pop sci type slang for anytime a system kind of behaves predictably up until a point, and then it passes some critical threshold where things just kind of ramp up in a way that we cannot expect or model or even say anything kind of meaningful about. So probably the one that you've heard of most often is the AI singularity, where if we have more and more artificially intelligent machines, machines that are more and more capable of sophisticated and complex decision making, there'll be a point at which the machines will then become more powerful, like they'll be better at improving themselves than we are at improving them. And that causes like an exponential growth and accelerating growth because as they get better at becoming better, and so on and so forth until we hit a point where it's just kind of out of control. And once we cross that threshold, it's sort of like a singularity that we can't really say anything meaningful about what the chart of intelligence looks like past that point because we just can't comprehend it ourselves. So, the use of the term quark singularity here, I think, is quite interesting and quite appropriate because it's describing that same sort of behavior where so far we can measure the effects from generation to generation, but then at a certain point, once these things become immeasurable, once these things start kind of moving faster than we can watch, it's just whoosh. Okay, so only All for One ever took this idea seriously. Huh. But what really does it mean? Unless we can tweak the hardware to accommodate our expanding memory, the human race will become unsustainable. We started seeing early signs of this back in the fourth generation, and since he held multiple quirks, he saw this problem as a grave one. Blah, 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 likes to start take. Tomura, I'm interested. I'm very, very interested. You're cutting us off of our lore. For the next 4 months, you'll endure hellish agony. And here we see a disturbingly detailed, at least to me, I find it kind of disturbing, drawing of a cocoon. And to me, it really mirrors a lot of the close-up shots of Shigaraki Tomura, where, you know, the cracks in his skin and the darkness under his eyes and all of the wrinkles and worn parts become like way too photorealistic, way too detailed. It becomes such a disturbing thing. I feel like depictions like this are always going to call to mind him in the series. If you can overcome it, you'll find that you'll have everything in the palm of your hand, even one for all. But like once it's in the palm of his hand, it's gonna disintegrate because that's his power. Whatever. I'm just making a stupid joke. Cool, allegorical shot of Tomura coming up out of the cocoon, looking incredibly disturbed. Of course, this is not what I predict he'll ever actually look like in the series, but it's a clear metaphor that some major transformation is coming. Maybe one that's even visual, but if it isn't visual, if it isn't physical, we know that it's reflecting something just as significant underneath. So just like I was saying at the start of this chapter, it's like they're taking him away from us again. Right when we thought we were getting to know him, right when we thought we understood his sort of limits, he's going to disappear for some time and come back stronger than we can fathom. The one power that didn't behave as he saw fit. Yes, out of everything that All for One sought to possess. Okay. Meanwhile, Endeavor has just put together the hidden message that Hawks has given. 4 months from now, the Liberation Army will rise to action. They've got a huge fighting force, including many heroes, including Endeavor realizes Hawks. Of course, Hawks being undercover, he's not actually going to fight against the Hero Association, but who knows how many other heroes sincerely are fighting for their cause. What are Shigaraki and his associates really hoping to achieve? Smallest feathers can only eavesdrop at short ranges, so I'm not quite picking up the key points. Too late once I do find out. So Hawks is doing his own espionage on the inside. Of course, he's a very valued member of the Meta Liberation Army, but it's not like they're inviting him to absolutely every single meeting. Before then, we'll send signal. If I were to raid this place now, it'd be the fastest way. Hawks unable to go into the cafeteria. It looks like they're on to him. This is what I'm thinking, is that they're on to him. Have to expose every last Meta Liberation Army member and their secret stronghold and every hero working with them. We'd need to catch them all in one fell swoop. Otherwise, the ones we let slip through our fingers would go on to do some real damage. If we fail. Yeah, looks like Redustro is on to him here. I don't buy this smile for a second. And the fact that he's locked out of the cafeteria of all places, they might have caught on to his second layer of spying. Or maybe he's sincere. Not only have you clearly read it, but you also grasp the true essence of what Destro stood for. So good to have another true believer with us. I don't know, maybe he's sincere. I still don't get what it means sometimes. Poor Twice. He's not so strong on the ideology side of it. He's not the Reed theory type. He's the definite hit the street for praxis type. Through spreading the word, our Liberation Army will permeate society faster than ever. Your fan base is the 10 to 20 demographic, and winning them over would be huge. I like the way this is presented. This back and forth between the complexity of Hawks' situation, this really messy social net that he has to weave his way through, and then Endeavor so far on the outside, slowly picking up the scraps that Hawks has left him to allow him to realize what he can do. I'm just supposed to have him work under me. The student's getting real experience facing villains. I think you're doing some good as well. Training these kids as best you can, Endeavor. Oh, okay. Who's about this enemy? And they're probably in secret, so these trainees are how we'll bolster our numbers. So this looks like it's sort of unfolding like the Chisaki Overdrive Mafioso arc, where the pro heroes, with the assistance of the students, who of course will end up playing a much bigger role than the heroes had anticipated, are going to launch some fairly large-scale raid. Of course, there's going to be some fact-finding and stuff too, just like it happened in the Mafioso arc. I don't know. This all seems fine to me. This is like I think a structure that works really well for this series. It can have a lot of characters involved. There's lots of little skirmishes, and then this kind of big climactic raid. Um, what I'm wondering is like if this arc actually plays out the way that it seems to be hinting at, that the Meta Liberation Army, bolstered by the League of Villains, is going to square off with every available hero. Where can we possibly go after this? Like, how do you top this? And I mean, sure, you can have it. Oh, some of the villains didn't get captured; they got away. Yeah, okay, but like, I don't know. Either I don't know. I don't know. Unless the villains win, then things could get very interesting. These students are backup in case it all goes south. Our insurance. Hmm. Shoto, Deku, Bakugo. You three with me. Okay. Looks like they haven't grown up much. That'd be nice job underestimating the kids. I made the right move stealing their glory back then. Even without me, they would have been fast enough. Not into raising the next generation, but seeing you ready to rise to the challenge kind of changed my mind. I'm glad it's you who showed up. Already strong. I'll get a lot stronger day by day. This definitely won't go how the villains are hoping. Okay, so I guess they're thinking this is kind of cool too. We get to see a lot of the other work placements in action. Gang Orca and the Drago lady and this fishman dude that we haven't seen before, but all sorts of pro heroes. Oh, this looks like it's a 2-page spread, perhaps. Yeah, yeah. All of them coaching some of our favorite students, even some Class B people in the mix. Even faster than me, wow. 2 of them, great. Fat Gum taking not just, what's his face there, Kirishima, but also Tetsu Tetsu. Tetsu 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 Tetsu. The rock and the iron together once more. Yeah, this is a really, really nice spread. I wasn't quite sure where they were going with this whole, oh, the kids are supposed to be like insurance, the kids are supposed to like back us up. Because it seemed like that was kind of getting too far ahead of themselves, that suddenly they were talking about like the very serious final battle of this arc, when we're still kind of in this preliminary drawing the lines type stage. But it was all to kind of push to this very inspiring idea that it's not just about this one fight. It's about the fact that the villains don't have this next generation of talent coming up behind them, coming up close behind them too. That this next generation of UA students can carry the torch, even where the pros might fail. Yeah, what a cool spread. Lots of actiony shots. And then big Momo fan service, just in case that's the only thing you're reading for. Ooh, even more! Oh my gosh, is it going to be like everyone in class A and B we get to see? Oh, this is so cool. Even the principal gets in there. Even the kids in the other school. The guy who's always yelling. I'm into that guy. Let's hope that the next time the cherry blossoms fall, we will all be smiling. We have Black Fog in prison, and Gran Torino and the cop, and Todoroki's sister up here in the middle. Like, this isn't just conveying that first message I was talking about, you know, the kids being the next generation, the kids coming up from behind. This is just like everything happening in the world. It's all just to remind us, like, stuff is going down. I feel like everything that could happen right now could be the fuse on like a gigantic powder keg that can draw in literally every aspect of these stories so far. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. I really don't know what to expect at this point. Like, I mean, we kind of have all of the pieces set up. I can't quite see it going so straightforwardly. It's not just going to be, it's time for the raid. We found the enemy hideout. We're going in. it's heroes versus Meta Liberation Army. Because again, it's like, where can you really go from there? So I feel like some specific situation, some incident, will draw in a minor conflict. We'll have Endeavor involved, the kids involved, maybe some Nomus, something like that. And it'll kind of be the opening salvo for a much longer saga that may involve, again, like all of these characters. Like, nothing is off the table at this point. Okay, all right. Pretty exciting chapter. We will look forward to next week's, which looks like it's coming out pretty shortly. It took me a little while to get this one, sorry. Bye-bye.